Hello, everyone. Welcome. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's class, and this is our second week in our data analytics mentorship class, tech switch and Debbylytics, and I'm glad that we are here today. So please, if you can hear me loud and clear, I just need to see your reaction in the chat box. Just tell me your country, you can yell me, just say something or drop me your favorite emojis so we can actually continue the class. Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you, Precious. Welcome to today's class. I hope we had a wonderful weekend. And this is Monday, and I hope today was fine. I hope we are doing okay. Welcome, 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 welcome. So this is Debbylytics and Tech Switch Data Analytics Mentorship class. And we are in week 2, the second week. So last week, we actually did a lot of things last week, and we did the foundation to data analytics, and we also did data type and measurement. And I believe that it was insightful. Thank you, South Africa. Thank you, Nigeria, Kenya. I can see your chat. Everyone, welcome, 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 welcome. So, like I said, that today's class is going to really be very, very insightful for everyone. And it is how to think as a data analyst. And it's a very, very interesting part of this data analytic journey. And let me tell you something, this class is not just for aspiring data analysts. A lot of people that are already analysts, because they've learned the tools, they know how to use Excel, they know how to use SQL, they know how to use Power BI. Some can even go ahead, I can use Python, I can do this, I can do that, but a lot of them don't know how to think. They don't know how to think. So you have to get this stuck in your brain. We have to think as an analyst. So before I start, thank you so much, Rose. Thank you so much for the compliment. Thank you so much. So let's start. But before I do anything now, I want to tell you something today. You are one of the luckiest person to be on this platform right now. I tell you the truth, because what I want to share to you now, it's what a lot of people are having issues with. I even came with evidence. I came with evidence because I know a lot of us like evidence. I came with evidence. A student just enrolled in my private class, a Debbylytics private class, and was asking me that, oh, Debbie, please, I know the tools, I can think, I know how to use Power BI, I know how to do this, but I don't know how to ask business question. I don't know what to do. Please, can you help me? This is someone that is a certified data analyst. He has his certificates, but he does not know how to think. He does not have that idea of how you can actually reason as a data analyst. And that is what we are going to do today. Thinking as a data analyst. So let me share you my slide. At any point, if you can't hear me or I'm breaking, just drop a message on the chat box. Mr. David will notify me so I can actually increase my voice, but I believe everyone can hear me loud and clear. So I'll be sharing my screen now so we can start what we came here to do. Let's start what we came here to do. So this is it. This is my slide. I believe everyone can see my slide. I believe everyone can see my slide. So if you can see my slide, let's start from the beginning. How do data analysts think? How do we think? How do data analysts think? How do they reason? So this is the analyst mindset, thinking like a data analyst. And in this thing, we're going to talk about problem framing, logical reasoning, and decision architecture. Like how you can actually make your decision. And like I said here, the true power of an analyst lie in their ability to frame problems because you are a data analyst. You are there to solve problem. That is why any firm, any organization will want to hire you, because they believe that they have a problem they can't solve. They don't have this mindset. They cannot reason. That is what distinguish you from an AI machine or anything. You can reason, you can think beyond it. So the true power of an analyst lies in their ability to frame problems, logically dispose them, and design decision making. So before touching any data, there are some things we have to put in place before you can do anything. So this is what we'll be covering today: problem solving, symptoms versus cost, missing decomposition, hypothesis design, decision logic, and all. So that is what we'll be doing today. Okay. So I believe that a lot of people are not seeing my slide. Let me present my slides where. Let me present my slides where. Thank you for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to do that now. I'm going to represent my slides. So let me know if you can't see my slide. Let me share my screen again and share the entire screen. Share. So please, can you confirm if you can see it? Can you see my slide? Let me see the chat box. Can you see my slides now? Please let me know. I'm coming. Let me let me be on a phone call with Mr. David to know if my slides are showing now. Wow. Okay. Okay. You have okay, I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm coming. Can you see it now? Check it. Is it showing now? Hello? Okay, I can come. It's showing. I can see it from here. Okay, I'm coming. On the layout, go and choose a license. Please, can you see my screen now? Confirm if you can see my screen. Check if they can see my screen. Can you see my screen now? Yeah, okay, good, good, good. Thank you. Can you see my screen now? Can you see my screen now? Please let me just get yes, 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 yes. If you can see my screen. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Sorry for that um short issue just now. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Good. Yeah. So now let's start it now. I'm sorry for that break. So now, like I said, we are learning thinking like a data analyst. And in this lecture, we are going to be doing problem framing, logical reasoning, and decision making. So now I said the true power of a data analyst lie in their ability to frame problems l- logically and how to design your what decision making. So I told you that we are going to be covering a lot today. These are what we'll be covering. We're going to be doing the problem framing, symptoms versus cause, They may see the composition, hypothesis, design, decision logic, and so many things. We are going to be doing so many things. So the first thing we have to do now is the analyst mindset. The analyst mindset, and everybody has a mindset. A lot of people, you will hear people say you have to change your mindset, you have to change your mindset. So now we have to change our mindset. So if you want to become a very good analyst, you have to change your mindset. So you have to put in the analyst mindset. It is not what you know, it is how you think. That is what data analytics is about. You have to what? Think. So there are 5 ways great analysts think differently. 5 ways we think differently. Number one, curiosity. You have to be curious. You never accept a number as what? A face value. You have to see something and just think that, oh, why is this like this? Why is this like this? So that's the first step. The next step, you have to ask question. Where is this data from? Is this data complete? I said in my last class, you have to know, hope this data is complete, hope is not biased. And now you have to see how the system think. You have to see the whole picture, not just one number. A drop in sales might be about logistics. Now let me give you a scenario. Like, I like giving example. Somebody walk up to you as a data analyst. Maybe let's assume that you are already a data analyst, you are in your company, and your CEO just walk and say, your manager walks in and sit down and say, sales are bad, fix it. He just came in and said, sales are bad, fix it. And he just walk out, and that's it. That's the whole brief he gave you. Now the question I ask, what do you do from here? How do you do as a junior analyst or someone that just entered into the firm? You will just panic. You'll be opening Excel. Oh, let me use the tools. Maybe I was taught tools. Let me use the tools. Let me use Power BI. Let me use that. But I tell people that before you go into those tools, you have to think. Be curious. Ask, why will he just tell you the sales are down? Why will you tell you the sales are bad? Fix it. So these are the 5 great things you have to think differently in it. You have to be curious. You have to see if this data set is complete. You have to know the source of the data, because you cannot just walk in here and tell me sales are bad. From where? How? What is happening? Let me get the whole picture. Let me see what is going on. Let me see the whole database. Is it that the region here is bad? Let me know what is going on before you cannot actually what? Tell a story from it and give a good answer. That is basically how a data analyst think. So now the first thing first is the problem framing. And the problem, if you know these are the mindset, so this mindset will now help you know how you can actually now what? Frame your problem. How you can actually frame your problem. Now, framing of problem is very simple. Like, if you have a problem, because I tell you as a data analyst, there's definitely a problem. That is why you are hired. If a business don't have an issue, you won't be hired at all. Especially in the African country, a lot of firms now are getting to understand, they're getting to know the power of having a data analyst in their business, in their industry. They know that if a data analyst is in their industry, they can be able to think and know and be able to frame questions, frame problems. So, like I said, the first example I said that your manager walks in and sit down and says, sales are bad, fix it, and he walks out. That's it. That's the whole brief. Now, here is the question. What do you do as a data analyst? A junior analyst will panic, or a entry analyst will just panic and open his Excel immediately. They will start pulling numbers, making charts, summarizing everything they can find. 3 hours later, they present a 20-slide report that is answering nothing. A good analyst will stop and take a deep breath and ask one question first. What exactly are we trying to answer? Now, there are some vague business questions. That is a vague business question. Sales are done. That is what the manager said. But a specific business problem will not tell you online sales decreased last quarter. Now you are getting there, because now your manager comes in and tell you sales are bad, and you have to ask a question. You have to know. You have to frame that that problem. So you ask, what exactly are we trying to answer? That is what problem framing is about, and is the single most important skill you will develop as a data analyst. It is it's a very simple and a very important skill as a data analyst, because a data analyst cannot solve a problem if you can't properly frame your problem. That is the genesis of everything. Because the quality of an analysis can never exceed the quality of your question. So the first one is a vague business question. Sales are bad. This is it is very useless, and does not even have anything you can think about. And it could mean that if your manager comes in and tell you sales are bad, sales could mean that, oh, the unit sold. It can be the revenue, it can be the profit margin, it can be the number of transactions that came in that are down. You don't know when. Was it last week? Was it last year? Was it up higher? Nobody knows. Nothing. You cannot even measure anything from this. So the specific business, well, that is what the vague business problem is. It has nothing to tell you. It's just like you having a phrase with no meaning. That is what a vague business problem is. So now let's go to the specific business problem. Online sales decrease last quarter. This is a clear scope, specific time frame, and actionable direction. Now, this has a direction. Online sales decrease over the last quarter. This is better. Now we know that it is online, not the physical store. And we have a time frame, which was what? Last quarter. So a data analyst can now pull out the right data. You can now know, oh, which data set am I working with? What am I doing to get this? Because now there is a fixed what? Time frame and actionable direction. Then the last one is the analytical question. This is the best one for a data analyst. Which customer segments had the largest drop of in purchase? Which customer segment had the largest drop in purchase frequency by product category? Now, this question is telling us now we are talking about the question that is measurable. You can actually answer it. It tells us exactly what data to collect and what to produce at the end. Because now it is not that sales are bad. Now they are telling you that it's the customer segment you should look. Oh, it has the largest drop in the purchase. So it is the customer segment that is bringing down the sales. You have a clear, it is measurable. You know that, oh, this is what I am looking for. That is how you can actually frame your business what? Problem. So when your manager comes in and says sales are bad, you ask some necessary question. I say it, a data analyst must ask question. You don't close your mouth. You guys are the important part of the firm, because if sales increase, it's as a result of the data analyst. You've predicted that, oh, if we do this, that. If something is happening, you can really diagnose the problem. That is diagnostics what analysis. You already understand that, oh, this is what is happening. So now let's go to the next one. The next one is know your limits before you start. Know your limits before you start. Know your limits before you start. Now, recognizing constraint and unknowns early is what separates a realistic analyst from an overconfident one. Yes, there are some overconfident analysts and the realistic analysts. Now, when you know your constraint, you know what you are looking for and what is missing. A good analyst will ask a question: which revenue stream? Now, let me not bore you. Let me just bring the bigger picture together now. The reason why I said you have to know your limits before you start is that if you want to dig into any problem, you have to understand it. It's just like somebody coming to meet you and tell you that, please, can you settle the dispute I have with this person? Now, you have to understand it well before you can actually settle your problems. So now think about the constraint and think about the unknowns. The data availability, like I told you the other in the other slide, I tell you 5 ways a great analyst think. You have to understand what you have, the information you have. Do you have the data you need to actually check for the 12-month sales? You check your sales history. If those data sets are there, another one, how long do you have? Okay, I need to do this report and submit on Friday. You understand, okay, I have to do this and submit on Friday. The budget, and do you have access to the right tools to make use of these data sets? Some people will ask a question, why do I have a lot of tools? Why do I have to learn Excel? Why do I have to learn SQL? Why do I have to learn Python? Why do I have to learn Power BI when all these things are tools to analyze data? Excel can analyze the data completely. Power BI can do that. But the question is, some people don't know the right tool to use when they are given a project. So you have to ask yourself, do I have the access to the right tool to do this job? Now, the unknowns gap you have to fill, you haven't filled yet. The missing data points. Now, let me tell you, when you have a data, there will always be a dirty data, a missing point. Sometimes, maybe why maybe they are actually trying to enter some of the data, there's a mistake, or somebody did a double entry, like a sales now. The person recorded 3 times or 4 times. It has now increased the sales, it has increased the amount they have there, the general revenue, the overall revenue. Now you have to check what are the missing points in this data set. What else? What are the other factors that are affecting this business question? You think of the unknown now. Constraint are things you know that are limited. You already see them. When you see this unknown, you have to think outside and look at this data set. Okay, as a data analyst now, my manager came in and told me that sales are down. What do I have to do? Now you've seen what you need. You've asked, okay, this is the time frame, this is the data I need, or this is the right tools. You already have them. Now you have to now check that what are the things that I don't have here. What else was happening? You think outside the box. You don't just work with only the data you have. You have to think outside. That's what we call, you have to explore your data. Explore it to see that if there is a missing gap, if there's an hidden what variable that is affecting what you are doing. I hope everyone is getting me. So that is what we do. Now the next one will go into symptoms versus root cause. Now I told you the first step is you have to frame your problem. You framed your problem. Now the next one you have to check for symptoms versus cause. It's just like you treating the headache. Treating headache that won't that cures the dehydration. Example is you went to an hospital and you just tell the doctor, I'm having a headache, and the doctor is asking you question. Do you know why the doctor is asking you some question? The doctor will not just go ahead and write a prescription for you and say go to the pharmacy and get this. No, the doctor will ask you necessary question. Why? Because the doctor does not deal with symptoms. They check the root cause. They have to check the root cause, that what has happened. They want to know where that problem is coming from, because if the doctor treats only symptoms, it is not helping. So as a data analyst, you have to check the root cause, not just what the symptoms. Now this is it. Are you solving the problem or just the symptoms? This is an example. Monthly revenue declined by 15%. Is this the problem? Is this the problem or a symptoms of something deeper? Now the manager can say, we checked our last month revenue and we noticed that the last month own declined by 15%. Then you just went ahead and be like, okay, you just check for the symptoms. Why? You do not go down and see what is the root cause. Symptoms is what you can see and what you can measure. The revenue dropped by 15%. Customers has complained. Website is having issue. Your third quarter unit when you are selling it fell off. Now you can only fix these symptoms temporarily. You can just quickly, like there are some lazy data analysts that will just quickly just do one or two and be like, okay, this is it, and not go back to the root cause. Because now if you don't go to the root cause, it keeps coming. Like the scenario of the hospital, if you don't solve why you are having headache, the person might have a tumor in his or her brain, and you are saying, oh, it's malaria. They keep giving you malaria drugs, and maybe for 2 or 3 days it comes, you feel better, it comes back again. Can you see? So you have to check the root cause. Now the root cause here is that what actually drives this problem? What is the real problem? What is the real problem? And it's possible that maybe they have actually what increased price, or maybe they now have a competitor, or maybe somebody must have done something, or maybe there was there was an improper record of details. There can be delivery delay. Customers are frustrated. Their marketing campaign has gone wrong. So now this is you addressing the root cause. You are not just after you trying to send the revenue 15%. You are addressing the root cause that will give you a what? A lasting solution. You ask why at least 3 times before you believe you have found it. You ask the question, okay, now you see what you did better last month, and check and see what is happening before you can actually go into the root cause. I believe everyone is like understanding what I'm trying to explain here. I believe everyone understand what I'm trying to explain. So the root cause here is very, very important. A bad doctor will actually give that person a painkiller and send them back home, but the good doctor will ask, how long has this happened? When does it get worse? What did you eat? Are you drinking water? What else is happening in your body? So you have to find a root cause, and before you can find a root cause, we are going to use a technique called the ask why 3 times. Ask why 3 times. Like I said, ask why 3 times. Revenue dropped by 15%. Why? Why? Because fewer customers made purchase this month. Why did fewer customers make purchase this month? Because there was a food traffic in one country, or maybe there's issue transportation. Why is there like traffic? Why the traffic drop? Because two or main as you get maybe two roads blocked together. People that are coming from the city are the one that purchased from us. Now they have a new security problem. They can't do that. That is what you do as a data analyst. You ask the question why. If you can actually know, okay, this is why it dropped, ask again, why did that one drop? Why? What's not happened to that one? A why, you must give a why to a why and a why before you can now know the what, the deep root of the problem. So the next section we are going to now is the me see and decomposition and me see. Me see. Me see. This me see helps you break every complex problem into clean and non-overlapping pieces. Now, everything I've been saying connect together. The first thing I said is problem framing. You have to frame your problem well before you can know what is going on. The first one, you have to frame your problem well before you can know what is going on. The next one after problem framing we talked about constraint and unknown. Then we talk about the symptoms and the root cause. When you frame your question very well, you now check, oh, let me check for the root cause and what the symptoms. Let's see, am I trying to look at the symptoms to solve this problem, or am I trying to go deep into the root cause? So that is it. The next one now, it is the missy and the decomposition. Now, this missy and decomposition is very, 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 very important. Now, I want to tell you the framework every analyst needs to know, which is known as the mutually exclusive and collective exotics. Just like the way the word is missy. Missy means mutually exclusive. And when the other one is when something is collectively together. Mutually exclusive means there is no overlap, meaning that, okay, let me give you an example whereby you can understand. You have a wardrobe and you have to arrange your clothes in this wardrobe, and in your wardrobe you have a place you put your trouser, you have the place you put your socks, you have the place you put your t-shirt. Now, if you put your trouser in the trouser cabinet, your trouser, you cannot see that trouser again in your socks, where you are putting your socks or your shirts. So each of these things will have their own what section. They don't overlap. The two of them can't stay together. That's what mutually exclusive means. They don't break each other. They have to stay what? They stay on their own. Your socks will not stay where your shirt is, and your trouser won't stay where your. So both of them won't stay together. I hope you understand. Now, let me give you an example of you trying to say, when you have a business and you are trying to check for new users and returning users. Now, new users cannot be returning users at all. New users are just coming in. Returning users are those ones that has helped you before. Your first quarter sales cannot be the same with your next quarter sales. They are different. So just like the way the slide is well understandable, I had to do it so that even after this class, you can actually read this material and understand it clearly. Like sorting clothes in your drawer, each item goes into exactly one drawer. No item belongs in two. If you see overlap, you haven't decomposed cleaning enough. Now let me tell you about the one whereby all of them is together, or possibly all of them are covered. Is when you are trying to see all customers that visited your store. Now, all customers that visited your store comprises of what? Your new customers and your returning customers. Now, everything will be together. It's just like you having just a place you put all your clothes. You just put everything inside. Like you have a suitcase, you don't have a particular place you put your socks, you put your shirts, everything are together. So now, why this framework is very important, it helps you break down that problem you've actually find the root cause. I told you everything is step by step. You frame your problem, you check for your unknown and constraint, you check the root cause, and when you check the root cause, you will now have to decompose this root cause into layers by layers. So together, your categories, this I told you that mutually exclusive is that, oh, these people are different. So now, for instance, I tell you sales are dropping, and you're trying to see which of the segments, which of the customer segments is being affected. Now, you know that your new customers are not the same thing as your old customers. Now, if you now try to differentiate them, to divide them separately, so you cannot say, okay, oh, is it that my new customers, after they purchase something from me, they are not coming back? Oh, what is wrong? Oh, they are not coming back. Oh, is it that our PR is not okay? Is it that our products are not good? You've properly decomposed that root cause. Now that is when you use your mutually exclusive. But now when you are seeing that, oh, your root cause says that, oh, it's like it is general. There's no customer segmentation. All your customers are complaining. You can now use the collective. You have to collect them to you know that, oh, this one is everything. Now you already know the approach you want to put in. So if you want to analyze why customers are leaving your telecommunication business, or maybe your store, you decide to segment them into group. You have to check for instance, now if you segment them separately, a good segmentation is when you are trying to list them separate, like, okay, these are my old customer, these are my new customer. Oh, this old customer, they are doing well, these new customers are not doing well. Then you cannot properly know how you can actually get your data. You cannot know how you can actually work with that thing. So now let's go to 2 ways to decompose a problem. 2 ways to decompose a problem. 2 ways to decompose a problem. Now, when you categorize your problem, you understand that, okay, I have separated it. I'm still using the same example. You frame your problem. Sales is down. Problem framing. Oh, sales is down from the second quarter. So yeah, the customer segments are bad. Now, you have to check for your constraint and missing value. If everything you need to use to work on that data, if you have them, you check that. Then the next one, you don't work with the symptoms, you check for the root cause. When you check for the root cause, you not properly know how you will not divide out your root cause to check, okay, now this is my root cause. Let me know what is going on. Is it my customer? Is it my new customer? Is it my old customer? Now, when you now do that, now you've now said, okay, oh, yes, my new customers are not coming back. They are not referral. They don't like my product. You will now ask yourself, how do you want to now decompose this problem? There are 2 ways you can decompose this problem, which is top down and bottom up. Top down means what? When you go from what? From when you start with the main problem and break it down into sub-problem, from descending order to ascending order, from the big to the smaller. That is like top down. When you start with the main problem, you break it down into sub-problem. Do you understand? Now, the main problem here is that this company is not generating what? Revenue. Their revenue is down. Their sales is down, which automatically gives them low profits. Now, they have a low profit. That is what? The bigger picture. Because your manager will just come with the bigger picture. Sales is down. We are not generating funds. We are not getting money. As a data analyst, go and think. That is the bigger problem. You will now analyze the revenue and the cost separately. Oh, you will now check, okay, is it that our prices are high? That is why my new customers are not coming back. My products, are they not good again? This is where you now start breaking down your big complex problem into smaller units. That is for top down. Now, when we go to bottom up is when you start with a particular data point, a small one, then you go up to find the main one, to look for the bigger insights. Now, this is when you build on the small thing you have and try and take it up. Now, bottom up starts with a specific data point and work upwards towards a bigger picture. You notice unusual sales spike on Thursday evening. You investigate. You discover a weekly, maybe you're not doing an Instagram promotion. Maybe it's driving them, or maybe the insights, your campaigning, the way you're campaigning is bad, or somebody is going on TikTok and be spoiling your product. You might not know. Or maybe one customer review. Now maybe one customer, maybe for instance a celebrity now has bought the product, which is a new is a new user. Now this woman bought the product and maybe the thing did not work well for her, then she went ahead and posted it. And you know the way people believe celebrities, before you know it has brought everything down. So that is what you do. That is bottom up. You now say, oh, this is it. You've now gotten it. So you use this when you are exploring data and don't have a fixed question yet. You see, this bottom up is used when a data analyst, maybe you are just working and you are trying to check how the business is going. Just notice it. You now start checking. But you see, this top down is when, oh, there's already problem. The manager comes to meet you, sales is down, you now start finding it. But this one is like we call it a preventive maintenance. You That is why every company does not have to wait till everything is bad before they can hire a data analyst. If they have a data analyst, the role, one of the function of a data analyst is that is to track sales, to see how they are performing. So if something is going on, they can quickly investigate and find patterns and see how they can rectify it. So that is how we decompose problem: top down and bottom up. So the next one we'll go to is hypothesis design. In our first class under the foundation of data analysis, we talk about hypothesis, how we use it for statistical analysis and some other things. Now, I said hypotheses are educated guess with direction. Now, look at educated guess with what? Direction. This is where analytical thinking becomes scientific. This is when your thinking now start becoming scientific. Now, we have the weak versus the strong hypothesis. Now, remember I told you that hypothesis is an educated guess, but not a random guess. It is structured. You can test your prediction about what you think. You cannot just think that this is happening and you cannot test, because you have to test your hypothesis. You have to see if your hypothesis is right or not. So before you do it, you have to look at data first and then form your hypothesis. You will unconsciously shape your data sets. You will shape that your hypothesis, that your educated guess. You are going to shape it well so that you won't be biased. Now, most analysts now, I can tell you for a fact, I have example. Most analysts now do what? Weak. Their hypothesis is weak. They'll just tell you that marketing is affecting our revenue. Oh, maybe marketing, you're not advertising where it's affecting the revenue. Now, this has no direction. Now, let me come into mathematics here and explain something to you. Now, there's something we call the independent variable and the dependent variable. Independent variable and the dependent variable. Now, independent variable, from the word independent, it can stand on its own. Independent can stand on its own. For instance, let me give you an example of me saying that, our digital, if I increase my increasing digital ad spend by 20% from the premier segment will increase Q3 revenue by at least 8%, tested by comparing treatment versus control group. This is a strong hypothesis. Why? Because it has an independent variable, and the independent variable is about the digital ads, the amount you are spending on digital ads. Now, the dependent variable is that now, because you are spending money on it, it's not dependent on it. The dependent variable is not the 8%. Can you see? For the premier segment will increase Q3, that's the third quarter revenue, by at least 8%. It says that if you can increase digital ads, this will happen to our revenue. So the dependent variable here is your what? Your revenue, the increase of your revenue by what? 8%. So we have the dependent variable and what? The dependent variable. Now, the next one you have to understand this data is that your hypothesis will have a clear direction. A clear direction meaning that is it increasing or is it decreasing? Now, I told you that a weak hypothesis will just tell you marketing is affecting what? Revenue. Marketing affects revenue. No direction, no scope, no variable. No variable is named. Now, I told you a strong hypothesis must have the independent variable, a directional change, which is what? The dependent variable, and what will happen, a scope. Now, look at this strong hypothesis. Increasing digital ads spent by 20% from the premium segment will increase. That increase now is showing you the direction. Will it increase or will it decrease? Increase Q3 revenue by at least what? 8%. Tested by comparing what? Treatment versus what? Control group. Now, this treatment versus control group is now what? Your treatment is your testable method. This is how you want to what? Test for your hypothesis. So that I said, this strong hypothesis has an independent variable, dependent variable, direction. It has direction and it has context and testability. You can actually what? Test. Now let's look at this one in a business term. Price influences demand. Obviously, we know prices influence demand, but this is not a strong hypothesis because you are actually making an educated guess. And your guess, you must be able to frame that your hypothesis well. And let's say a 10% price increases an entry tier mobile plans in Lagos will reduce new what? Sign up 15 to 25% in the following what? 30 days, controlled for what? Seasonability. This hypothesis is perfect. It is specific, it is measurable, it is specific, it is measurable, it has time band. A 10% price increase, dependent variable is there. It has told you what will happen. We reduce new sign up. It has actually showed us the clear direction. It will what? Reduce it. The dependent variable is here. What will happen? It will take it to what? 15 to 25% in 30 days. And it has given you the defined scope when it will happen. So this is what a clear hypothesis is about. So one more thing you have to understand is that after you write your hypothesis, ask yourself this question. After you have done that, ask yourself this question: what data will prove me wrong? What data will prove you wrong? If you can answer this question, you don't actually have to test hypothesis, because hypothesis, no, you know, I said hypothesis, you are guessing. So once you have something that will prove you wrong, you don't even need to start testing the hypothesis because that hypothesis is wrong. But when you have an educated guess and you feel like, oh, nothing is wrong, some people can even go ahead and not even test the hypothesis. But it is right to test your hypothesis to check if you are going to reject your null hypothesis or you are going to accept it. Now, I've explained all this in the last one. I said you have the independent variable, the cause, what change or manipulate, the dependent variable, the effect of what you measure, the confounding variable, the hidden factor, the external things that will happen. Like what will happen? Will it increase? Will it decrease? And everything. So when I send you this slide, you are going to read in total. I just want you to understand it. But you can go ahead. That is why you have accountability group. Go ahead, you guys should discuss about it. Make it fun. You will enjoy it. So the next one we are going to is decision logic, the Boolean's logic. Now, how analysts build decision rule. We have some basic operators. I call them operators because as a mathematician, I studied mathematics, so I know I like operations and all. So we have the and, or, and not. We have the and, or, and not. Now, when you use and is that you are actually supporting both conditions. It means both condition must be true. For instance, let me give you an example. Give a discount to customer who are VIP members and who spend more than 50,000 naira this month. Now, I'm telling you that the only people you can give discounts is people who are what? VIP members, and they must what? Spend 50,000 naira this month. So you can have VIP members that do not even come and spend money in your maybe your bar, in your firm, or maybe you are selling drinks. So you this if you use and, the and will actually obey the two conditions. Both condition must be true. Like you needing two keys to open a lock. If you do not open the first one, you cannot open the other one. So this is it. That is it for and. Then all means at least one condition must be true. You offer free delivery to customer whose order is over 10,000 naira, or who have a premium subscription. Now I'm saying that, okay, I want you to offer free delivery to people who order something over 10,000 naira, or who have a premium subscription. I can have a premium subscription and order something of 2,000 naira. So this condition is true for me because I have already obeyed one of the what condition. So at least one of the condition will be true. But if none is true, if the two are false, it will not obey it. Now the not condition. The condition must be false. This condition must be false. Remember I said and both must be true, or at least one must be true, and not. None of them should be true. None of them should be true. For instance, send a re-engagement SMS to all your customers who have not made a purchase in the last 30 days. Send a re-engagement SMS to all your customers who have not made a purchase in the last 30 days. If they bought yesterday, no SMS. If they have bought in the next 45, no SMS. But you said who have not engaged in the last 30 days. These three operators are the foundation of every customer segment you will ever use to build in Excel. Every filter you run in Excel, every query you run in SQL, and every conditional column you will create in RBI, we need the if-then thinking policy. You need to understand this very well. So if you want to work, if you are using Excel, that is why we are coaching you to be able to use Excel. If you are using Power BI, you have to understand these three basic operators. If a customer last login was more than 30 days, all those kind of questions, you have to understand them. So that is that under and, or, and not operations. Now we go to pseudocode and flowchart. Plan your logic before you code. Writing pseudocode and drawing flowchart is how great analysts catch logic error before they become an expensive one. Yes. Pseudocode is a very, very plain English logic. It's a step-by-step plan you write before coding. Think of it as a recipe. Before you start cooking, you will read the recipe now. You will know, step 1, I have to do this one. Step 2, I have to do this one. What goes in after putting this? What comes out after putting this? So pseudocode does the same for your analysis. No programming knowledge needed to read that. Anyone can understand it. And writing it before you code forces you to catch logical error before they become expensive mistakes. This is well used in SQL and Python. Now, before you write any query, you have to understand what you are trying to do. You must what? Understand it well and write it out. Okay, what am I trying to see? Before you can start using, select this from this table, from that table. So that is what pseudocode is about. It is used to what? Write your step-by-step approach before you run any query. Before you do any coding, that is what pseudocode is about. It is not a program, it is written in clear English. Now look at it. Get a list of all active customers. Now you first of all get it. See, step by step. For each customer, check their last login date. You check that one. If the last login date is greater than 30 days, you mark it as risk. So that is what? Step-by-step approach. Now we go to the flow chart. Time is not on my side. I have less than 10 minutes, so I have to be fast. So we have the flow chart. Flow chart are the visual version of the same logic. Now, is the visual version of your same logic using shapes and arrows so anyone can follow the direction path visually. Now, over is used to start and end. Rectangles are actions. Diamonds are decision points, yes or no. Every path must lead somewhere. If a branch leads nowhere, your logic is broken and the flow chart shows you that instantly. So that is what pseudocode and what flowchart is about. Pseudocode, you write it in clear English. Flowchart is when you are using what? Sign. When you are using these symbols to visualize what you've done. So I think this is the last, hopefully. Let me be fast. I already explained confirmation and bias ethics to you in our last class. You don't have to be biased when you're thinking. You have to think about the ethics, the rules, and everything. So we'll skip that. I've explained that in our first class. So now know your audience. This will actually, I just want to talk about it more. This is the class for Saturday. Mr. David is going to talk about it well and you will enjoy it. Now, by the time you frame your problem, by the time you've checked for your constraint, you've checked for your root cause, you've decomposed it, you've known what you want to do, you've written your code, you've done everything. Now, you've analyzed your report already. You've used your tools, you've used your Excel, you've checked everything. You have to understand who you are trying to communicate your report to. Because your manager told you, give me a report by Friday. Check this and tell me why. You have to understand who you are reading this report to. Most people have problem in communicating their findings to their audience. This is a data slide are not just about data. They are about the meaning of the data for a specific person. Before you build any chart or dashboard, answer these three questions: who, what, and how. Who is your audience? Am I giving it to the CEO? Am I giving it to my operation manager? Because your CEO will just want like a one slide summary. Because before you can get to the CEO, your operation manager must have checked it. He must have checked it, and before you know, those things they'll actually be summarizing it. An operation manager wants details. Now your manager that came in and says sales is down, you now go and give him one report. Sales is down because our new entry customers are not coming back to buy. They're not coming back to our store to buy. One celebrity went online and said our product was not good, and that is it. No, he wants details. He wants to understand. Now, what do you want them to do? Because a data analyst, you are not just there to uncover problems. You are there to give solutions. Tell them what they can do. Recommend something for them. Tell them, let's do it this way. That is why you are actually doing a descriptive analysis, a diagnostics analysis, a predictive analysis. You are trying to prescribe and you are predicting. So you have to prescribe for them and you predict what will happen. So what do you want them to do? Every piece of analysis should lead to a decision or action. If your audience can't act on its own, rethink why you are showing it. So if your audience cannot really understand, you know that this thing I'm doing, my audience will not understand, you have to go back. Now, this thing I'm talking about is what I'm even doing in this class. Every class, every presentation must have a clear order. If I'm teaching a class of 100 people, at least 70% must have a glimpse, like must understand what I'm trying to say. That is a very big power. Something that a data analyst must have. How much do they know you? Adjust your language, your chart type, your depth to their level. Make them feel comfortable. So that is that about that, knowing your audience. So the last one, your dashboard has 3 seconds to make its point. Yes, this will actually be taught out in our next class. But before you display anything, before you bring any reports, by the first 3 lines they read, it must make sense. It must make sense. Even when you are even making a post, people that they're on TikTok, you see them, they'll make you anticipate. They'll make you stay hooked to the post. So if your first 3 seconds or 5 seconds does not make sense, you've lost them. You've lost them. In 3 seconds, your audience should identify the key message. If not, your visual is too clustered. Remove cluster. Every element that does not serve the story creates noise. Remove grid line. We'll talk about this well. When we go to Power BI, you will see how sweet it is to build dashboard. You will love it. I say you will love it. Data analysis is very, very sweet. So now let's go to the next one: direction, attention, and big idea. So now all these things will make your dashboard stand out. So a result is not an insight. Delivering numbers without reasoning is reporting. When you are just telling your manager, this is why da 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 da, without having a good, it is just like you are reporting, just like a newscaster. You are just there talking da 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 da. Newscaster self makes sense. Delivering meaning with recommendation in analysis. So you have to give meaning. Don't just say add because of the advertisement it has decreased 25%, revenue has decreased by 10%. This is just number on a slide. Describe what happened but tells the decision maker nothing about why or what to do. It can be coincidence, it could be a causation, it can be something that caused it to happen. You haven't told them why it is happening. So an insight, that's the difference between an insight and a result. An insight will give you a well detailed information. The 20% reduction in ad spend correlates with the 10% revenue drop. However, our Q3, that's our third quarter data, shows that revenue loss is concentrated in the Lagos market, not nationally. Now, it's telling you that, oh, the issue is from the Lagos region, not this region. The issue is from South Africa, not Nigeria. The issue is from Ghana, not this. This suggests we underinvested in Lagos specifically rather than what broad ad spend problem. Recommendation, because every data analyst must be able to recommend something. Reallocate 40% of the remaining ad budget to Lagos in Q3 and measure impact over 6 weeks. So, key principle to carry forward from now. Like everything, I'm trying to summarize everything I've said. I have just 2 minutes. Frame problems before touching data. Frame your problems before you start touching data. Vague questions produce useless analysis. So have a good analytical questions, not a vague question that seals it down. Always distinguish your symptoms from your cause, from your root cause. Treat the disease, not the what? The fever. Use missing thinking to actually what? Decompose your what? Your problem. Am I going to what? Is it that it is everything I'm looking into, or I'm just looking into part of it? Is it news? Is it the new customer or the old customer? Strong hypotheses are testable, directional. You have to see them. You must have a dependent variable, it must have independent variable, it must tell you what will happen. That is what strong hypothesis is. Confirmation bias is the analyst's greatest enemy. Your job is to find the truth, not to prove belief. Yes, they can come to you and tell you this is why it's happening, but you can eventually check and see that that is not what is happening. So your own is to find the truth. Your own is not to just go and start proving what your manager has said. That thing your manager said might be one of the problem, but not the real problem. So the work of a data analyst is to check it. That is why a doctor will not just assume you have headache. He has to check the root cause of your problem. A result is not an insight. Every number you deliver must point towards a decision. So that is that for our first class. And this is a very, very, very important lesson. I will advise you keep this slide well. For those in our class, keep it well. Read, ponder on it well, and you will actually love data analysis from that. So I would want to share you our project for today. I will also share this week project on our groups, but let me just give you explain what the project is about. I told you every week you have a class, you must have a project, and our project is not just project that you now go there. You have to think. Now this is a business detective. So now you're a business detective. A real world problem framing and analytical thinking project. Every great analyst starts with question, not answers. So now this is it. The data. Now this is what the project is about. In this lecture, you learn that thinking like an analyst is not about knowing how to use Excel or write SQL queries. It starts much earlier than that. So with how you think about problem. And this project gives you the chance to prove that you can do exactly that. You'll be given a real world African business scenario because we have different African country here. So we just splitted it into three. A company with a problem. Your job is to step into the role of a professional data analyst and show us how you would think through it. You will not read any software, you will not need any data, you will only need your brain, what you have learned in this lecture, and the ability to reason clearly. So the core skill this project will test it to test your problem solving, your problem framing skill, your symptoms versus cause, hypothesis design, analytical thinking, and insight versus results. So this is the first scenario. Read all three scenarios. You have to pick one. You do not need to have to work on it. You just pick one from it. This one is in Nigeria. The other one is in Ghana. The other one is in Kenya, Nairobi, and all. So I have to just do three. I'm sorry if I did not, because we have a lot of countries, but I really want it to be relatable. I'm not saying that because you are in Ghana, you must speak Ghana. I'm saying you are in Nigeria, you must speak Nigeria. You must speak that of Nigeria. No, if I were you, I would pick the one that is outside my country so that I can actually have more exposure of what is happening in businesses over there. Now, this is the question. A Quick Mart is a supermarket chain with 12 branches across Lagos. They have been in business for 8 years and have always been profitable. But over the last 4 months, their total monthly revenue has dropped by 20%. The CEO calls a meeting and says, "We are losing customers. I don't know why. Fix it." You are the data analyst. You have to bring it out. You have to figure what is going on. That is the first case scenario. Now, this one, PayFast is a mobile money app launched 2 years ago in Ghana. They grew rapidly in their first year, reaching over 180,000 registered users. But in the last 6 months, something has changed. While new users are still signing up, the number of users who complete at least one transaction per month has dropped by 35%. The product manager says people are downloading the app but not using it. We need to understand why. You are the analyst to assign it. Do it. Now, this is a school that lost its students in Kenya. Talk about it. Do it. Read it. Actually put some clue, your tasks. Complete all 6 tasks below using the scenario you have chosen. Write your answers clearly in full sentence, not bullet points only. Your thinking matters more than your word count. A short, sharp, well-reasoned answer is always better than a long, vague one. So this is the task one. Frame your problem. I did it well that you can understand. Frame your problem, spot the symptoms, find the cause, write the hypothesis, identify your variable, from the result to the insights, and do your part. Explain why the statement above is true. Do everything you have to do. Task 6, your analytic ethics check. You check it. This is, I had to put the marking guide there because I will definitely read every one of them. I will do that. The last class, I got to report a lot of people submitted, and I love so many things. And I am so proud that we started this journey. Like just in 1 week, and people could really, really reason far. Like I was so in love with it. So please, I am ready to read it. I am going to read it and I'm going to grade it. So this is how I'm going to mark it. I had to put it there, and how to approach this project. I listed everything out, how you can approach it. And this is my word for you. This is not a test of what you already know about data. This is a test of how you think. The best submission will not be the longest one. It will be the one where I can clearly see an analyst what mind at work. Someone who asks the right questions, challenges assumptions, and turn a business problem into a clear direction for action. That person is you. Yeah, I already believe that you can do it. Now show it. So we are done with our class today, and I hope we actually took something home. I hope this was really, 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 really insightful for us. I hope we really understand it. So please, if you are here, just drop a message on your chat box and tell me how you really enjoyed this class. If it was really, really insightful, if you love it, let me see your message. Let me see your message in the chat box. Drop your message in the chat box. Let me see. So thank you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for joining. I really, 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 really love this class. And henceforth, we are going to, our next class is going to be how you can actually present your data, how you can tell stories from your dashboard, how you can actually tell stories from your dashboard. So Saturday will actually be mind blowing. Wow, thank you. You said eye opening. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It is very insightful and informative. Thank you for the review. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we are going to have the storytelling with dashboard, how you can actually tell your story in with data and everything. That's on Saturday. The next week we start with our first tool, which is Excel. How you can actually use Excel to analyze what your data and everything. So thank you so much for the for joining. We are going to see you next week. So do you have any question? Any question, please? Any question? Any question? Any question? Please, any question, just drop your question. Drop your question in the chat box. Drop your question in the chat box. Drop your question in the chat box, please. Question, question, question. I'm here to answer your question. I'm here to answer your question. Drop your question. Any question? Any question? Any question? Any question? So, yeah, good, good, good. Any question? Thank you so much, Debbie. Well thought and detailed. Thank you. Very insightful, precious. Thank you. Steve, thank you so much. Thank you for the review. Thank you for the feedback. So if you have any question, please, I'll just give you 5 more minutes to drop your questions. And for those asking about, I got so many messages today about the payment plan. For those that have actually paid and invested in this, thank so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So the free class is going to be ending in the fourth week, and by that time we are done with Excel. So don't be scared that, oh, I will not learn any skill. You still have extra 2 more weeks to enjoy from us. But you can actually make a commitment. You can make a commitment. You can actually pay part payment, you can pay full, you can pay monthly. We have to do it in a way that it is accessible for everyone. And mind you, 75% of this class has been actually paid for. It has been paid for. It has been paid for. So please do what you have to do. I'm not I'm not literally begging you that, oh, please, you have to pay. I'm just saying, if you enjoy, this is one of the way you can actually encourage us to actually do something here. Our goal here is to make data analysis simple for beginners and make it accessible to everybody globally. Globally. So the link will be dropped on the group for payments. Thank you, Precious. The link will be dropped on the group for payments, and everything will actually be sorted on the group. So please, after this class, please go to the group chat and drop how you love the class. Tell them how insightful this class is. Just drop emojis, make them understand that you've learned something, or you are now a good data analyst. You cannot think as a good data analyst. So that's all for now. Thank you so much for joining, and that's the end of our class. But wait, though, why no question? I think this there are two things. It's either I did not teach well or you guys understand everything. But I believe that you understood. So the live record, the class will be sent. The link to watch the live record will be sent on the group. The slide will also be sent on the group, and your project will also be sent on the group. Please, 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 please do what is required of you. Do what is required of you. So thank you so much, everyone, from joining. I love you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. See you on Saturday, 7 p.m. Bye bye.